Teddi's Burnout is the 10th episode of the first season of So Little Time. This is directed by Richard Correll, and there will be some spoilers as I talk about what happens in this, but I don't have a tremendous amount to say, to be perfectly honest. While it does raise some interesting points, I didn't really love the narrative. It wasn't particularly interesting, and I feel like we got a lot of Riley, but not a lot of Chloe. And usually the episodes are quite balanced, so that's not necessarily a complaint, more of just an observation. And I'll talk about Chloe and Riley in a moment. But the bit with Teddi involves the fact that she is fed up of having to be so restrictive with her diet for modelling. She claims at one point she prefers onion rings to modelling, and she's in a bit of a difficult situation. She talks to Chloe and Riley's father. Honestly, didn't really care for those scenes. I didn't think they were that interesting. But I do think it's an interesting point about how much models have to really sacrifice. Obviously, not eating onion rings is not a huge sacrifice, but it's looking at how restrictive their lives are, how controlled they have to be with their own existence, because if they even look ever so slightly differently, it could really hinder their career. And I think it did a decent job of showing how difficult and stressful that can be, and I don't think that the narrative was the most interesting. The specifics, for example, we do have a lot of talking with their father, maybe not for me the most interesting, but I think it raised some really important points, and it generally did a good job with that. So no real complaints. It's also the first time I think Teddi's had any real value to the show. I've never really seen any purpose in the character other than just being a background character up until this point. So it was nice to have a little bit of important focus with the character. The rest of the narrative focuses on Chloe and Riley, and it was okay. Chloe is wearing Riley's new blouse, this yellow blouse, and Riley tries to pretend she's not bothered, but then Chloe gets a load of compliments on it when they're at school, and then Chloe is teaming up with somebody Riley wants to team up with for a class project, and that really makes them irritated, and it really makes Riley irritated. And the whole message there is about communication, saying how you really feel. And if you're unhappy with something, make sure you make that person aware, because there's no point letting it boil up inside of you until it gets too much to handle. So that is a good message. And it was nice to have a lot of focus on Riley. Riley did have a decent amount in this. But as I said, I feel like maybe we could have had a little bit more focusing on Chloe. Did I say at the beginning of this that I think we should have had more focus on Chloe? I might have done. It's still very difficult to think of them as Chloe and Riley in the opposite way, because Winning London is one of my all-time favourite films. It's the first DVD I ever owned, which is quite exciting. And they're called Chloe and Riley, but in Winning London, Mary Kate plays Chloe and Ashley plays Riley. It's the other way on here. So sometimes my brain gets the names mixed up. I hope that hasn't happened here, but if it has, or if it ever happens again, I apologise. It's definitely an okay episode. It's not my all-time favourite, but as I said, it was nice to have some focus on Teddi that actually felt worthwhile and meaningful. Yeah, I would have liked more Chloe, but what we got of Riley was definitely really good. So in general, although it's not amazing, Teddi's Burnout was okay.